So how do you actually give a personalized experience to your consumers? And it'll be great if you can share some examples on this.
So there is, of course, a whole personalization layer built in, right? We cannot operate a platform of this magnitude without personalization and curation. So there are two levels. I mean, of course, there is, we learn from the user, so we take your signals, right? So there are times where you can give me a deterministic signal to say, I like these particular categories. You can go into Glance in the settings when you're setting up your phone. You can actually choose to say, I like, these 5, 6, 10, or all content categories that you want. I want to be spoken to in these languages. So there's curation available. You can select your language, you can customize what you want. So these are deterministic signals that I will get from you. A lot of times users may not be aware, and that's where the exploration behavior starts, right? So we will start teasing you with different types of content and see what you're reacting to, and depending on that, the system will pick those signals, and then basis that exploration, we'll start sending you more. So if you're interacting with a certain kind of content, which is pretty much like how all tech platforms work, right? If you're interacting with certain kind of content, we know that you're showing affinity for it, so we'll try and show you more of it. Even when you've given us a deterministic signal, like you've told me I like something, I will still test waters with you, because a lot of times when we choose something, we're coming in with a preset mindset that this is what this is what it would give me. But you may not be aware that potentially there could be a little more outside that boundaries as well. So while you will give me a signal, I will still try and explore certain things with you. But if you do not show an affinity, I will not, like, I will pull back, right, over a certain period of time. And if you've not given me any signal to begin with, then we will test waters, right? We know there are certain categories that people like naturally, like news is something that generally people would consume, right? Like you would want to know what's happening in the world. Sports is a mixed bag. Like there are people who love it, and there are some who would just want to know, and some who would go into a deep behavior. So again, we'll test waters. Gaming is something that we are seeing a lot of people show affinity across age groups, right from a 20-year-old to a 40-year-old homemaker is also wanting to spend time with a quick game, right? The need states would be different. Someone would be coming in with I want a game because they're a core gamer, versus someone coming in just because it's a stress buster and just a way to relieve their day-to-day chores and just get away from it and do something fun. But we're seeing affinity across a lot of age groups on that. So that's something that we see a lot of organic traction for. Live is something that we're testing out in this part of the world. So uptick, but again, it's something that not everyone is picking up. It's a different behavior because it is enabling you to interact. It's not passive consumption. You can interact with the creator, you can actually interact with your community in and around that time, and engage in what is happening. You can change the direction of the show. So it's a slightly different behavior. People are starting to get used to it and attuned to it. So those are things that we test. Shop again is something that in general everyone loves, so we across do test it out. So there is a whole personalization machinery that's or tech stack that's built in. We test waters with users and then see whatever their affinity that they're liking, and the system will personalize it for you. It's not 100% right there. I mean, there are a lot of platforms who have actually perfected this over the years. We were just a 4-year-old company, so we're still sort of, our models are learning, and that improvement is happening. So I will not be able to say that we are comparable to some of the bigger players in the market, because they have almost decades of like machine learning that they've taken from the user and then applied intelligence on top of it to serve you. We're about a 4-year runway. So the system is, it learns organically, of course, as new users comes in. So the setup is there, but we use that to then personalize information. But this is a very critical part of the entire platform, because at the end of the day, it is built in the manner where it's supposed to curate the right information for you. So unless you find it's relevant for you, you will not stick onto the platform. So that's the entire base or the premise of the screen behavior, that we want you to stick on, which is why we will try and personalize it as close to your needs as possible. So that's how we work. And then of course there are other pieces that we run in the back end in terms of what kind of tools that we do to personalize this, which are traditionally the typical standard tools that we've worked with some of the largest players in the across the world, some of the top global players, to run this technology.